So I get nervous for every single intro. I don't know why.
You know what used to help me when I was warming up on camera?
What?
I would literally like sit in a chair and I would just like build up all this energy. And I would just be like, Wah!
Oh shit.
And like, oh yeah.
Yeah, you're recording, huh?
Yeah.
Good thing I think it's
No way. That's great.
That's a snippet.
Yes!
Oh, you guys are good to go. Action!
What's up, y'all? Manny, Carrera, your real estate resource, and this is episode number 23 of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions, where we sit with entrepreneurs, influencers, movers, and shakers over a glass of some fine whiskey. Today, I'm going to be joined by my special guest. This gentleman is a financial services professional and entrepreneur, Daniel Joseph del Valle. What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good, how are you?
Oh, we do it. Handshake and cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
We moved your whiskey because we're taking pictures right now, but cheers to you. I know we took a sip right now. If you want to take another one so you could kind of describe to our audience what we're drinking on today. We are drinking Knob Creek Limited Edition 2001. This is a 2001 year, batch number 4. So this thing is 100 proof. I don't know if you could taste that.
You know what?
proof.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you got it on camera where I was like,
It's like
I did take a big swig.
It's fire, right?
And I was trying not to cough.
Yeah.
And I was trying to look all cool and
This bottle definitely has a kick to it. Kind of going over the smell right now. What would you kind of describe this as? We're kind of trying to break it down right now, but
you know, it definitely doesn't smell like, you know, the strength that it is.
Right.
I'll just say that.
it smells a little sweeter,
So
right?
that's why I really took a nice big swig.
Right.
It's like, oh yes.
It's tricky, huh? You think it's gonna be nice and sweet, but it actually does.
It really caught me off guard.
I think even though it has a punch, I think it's still pretty smooth, relaxing, right? That's what you kind of described it as.
Yeah.
Relaxing. So after a long day at work, for sure, this is the whiskey to drink, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking about that. Like when I smelled it, I pictured myself sitting on the couch with my feet up, you know, and just
After a
by
long
myself.
day.
You
Yeah.
know? No TV on, nothing.
Reflecting the damn day, right? Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, I'm really happy and excited to have you on. Shooting these podcasts weekly. We've really been trying to hone down on people that are making a big impact here in the city, big names, you know, and you're definitely one of them. Owning your own business right now and really just making the mark that you have been. You're making a lot of noise right now on social media. That's actually how we kind of met, right? I don't know who requested who, but when I looked at your profile, I was like, this guy's doing some stuff. And, we started talking a little bit on Instagram, but today we finally met. So excited to have you on, but why don't you go ahead and tell our audience, you know, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do?
Man, where do I start? So, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. I came to El Paso, you know, when I was a kid. My parents wanted to come down here. My mom wanted to be by her family. And, I think we can all agree that there's something about El Paso, you know, in the family environment that's really warm and welcoming and really, you know, if you have a family, this is the place to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's a perfect city to grow up in and raise a family, right?
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, I went back and forth to Chicago a lot. And although, you know, I had my moments where I was complaining about El Paso, you know, it didn't have certain things and all these, you know, as an adult, now I appreciate so many things.
Right.
And now I was even talking to my father about this the other day and I said, I was at a gas station filling up my gas, right? And I saw some guy flipping somebody else off, you know, on the side of the road, and they're yelling at each other and whatnot, and they drive off. And I went home to my dad, and I'm like, man, you know what? This city's awesome because you can get away with stuff like that here and not get shot.
Yeah.
Like,
especially coming from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
I think the crime rate out there is one of the most dangerous.
I think at one point it was one of the murder capitals in the United States.
So right now, for those of you that aren't from El Paso, we're literally comparing apples to oranges right now because El Paso was ranked for a couple of years one of the safest cities in the country. So you lived in both. You lived in the worst that we offered and the safest, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you. And it's funny because a lot of people think, you know, it's so bad here, you know, all these different areas. I'm like, man, if you can go outside and walk and not be bothered, you're fine.
Right. Yeah.
Like even me, I'm a big guy, but you know, it's out there, they'll still mess with me. And you really can't talk back in certain areas out there. Like I was out there last year in 2017, and we were in the south. My dad and I were in the south side, and I was walking to a 7-Eleven around the area, and there was a couple guys that were just yelling something at me, trying to challenge me. But like out there, like you don't say anything. You just shut up and you just keep walking. Don't try to start a fight. Don't try to argue. Don't try to say anything back, because you really don't know when somebody's just gonna pull something out.
Yeah, you don't. There's crazy people out there, and that's so funny because I know exactly what you're talking about. My sister lives in New York City. She moved there last year. Okay, so I have like 20 different stories to tell, but I mean the first story I'll definitely say is when I helped her move over there. I drove her from San Antonio to New York City. Okay, in a van. We were in a van with me, her, and her dog. Her dog was farting the whole way, so that van smelled like fart.
You sure it wasn't your sister?
It was probably her. She was blaming.
She's probably blaming it on the dog.
She was blaming the dog.
Because I've done that.
Candace, we see you. But no, we get to New York and we met her best friend there, and she approached us with like a manual on what we need to know to walk these New York streets, and she's like, keep your head down. Don't look and don't pay attention to anybody else's business. People start talking shit to you. Don't say anything. And I was like, that doesn't happen. We're walking that night. I'm walking with two girls, and it was a Jewish community.
It happens.
It was a Jewish community, and there was a guy in the uniform. He had the hat and everything.
Yeah.
And he started yelling, "Fucking whores, fucking," to my sister and her friend. And I turned around. I was like, what the? And I was gonna say something, and my sister and her friend were like, just keep walking, and they were normal, but I was like, I was so heated.
No,
I was like,
no, exactly.
What the
like
hell?
you really, and it's like if you have an ego, you're gonna die out there.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly true.
And I think that's one of the most, and I think that's why I'm not so, don't get me wrong, we all have our moments, but I think that's why, when somebody says something to me, it just doesn't faze me.
Right.
And it's funny you bring that up, how, the guy, the way he looked and dressed, the way he dressed, you wouldn't assume him saying such words. And, when I was a kid, my mom and I, we were in Chicago, and we actually got carjacked by somebody wearing a suit. Really classy looking guy who was wearing a suit.
He was late for an important meeting.
he was wearing a suit. I mean, thank God, luckily, as a cop pulled right around the corner, flashed his lights, and the guy dipped, and I was in the car seat. So,
you were in the car?
I was in the car. I was in the car
with
he was going to steal the car from my mom. He had the gun up to her head, the door was open, cop pulled right around the corner.
Wow.
So and the guy was very nicely dressed. I mean, he looked like, he was a young guy, probably interning at the Chicago Stock Exchange, or somebody like you and I, someone like you.
Just walked up to you with a gun.
Yeah, just straight up walks up to you with a gun. And
yeah, totally different type of city, right, that we're in right now.
And I'm not trying to dramatize it, don't get me wrong, it's got its good places, it's got its bad places.
Right.
I love Chicago. It's a very educated city. It's a great place to go and
I think it's very cultured too, right, as far as food. I think I was watching actually Chef's Table on Netflix the other night, and they were talking about so many restaurants in Chicago that are changing the game, and it's just like
we actually got an order from Giordano's Pizza from Chicago the other day. I posted it on my Snapchat. I don't know how we got it. My mom got it. She's a G like that, but we got it.
You got an order from Chicago.
That was it was real Chicago style pizza, and
really?
Not the Chicago style.
Wait, your
pizza.
Mom got a pizza here in El Paso?
Yeah,
from Chicago.
Giordano's actually. We got the order from it. Giordano's in Chicago, and at our home address in El Paso. Don't ask me how. I mean, it came frozen
Uber
and all
Eats.
that, but
Uber Eats. They drove.
Amazon Eats, man. They're taking it to the next level.
Is that just?
I think. No, I'm joking.
Oh shit! They got drones.
There you go, Amazon. There's your next idea.
Yeah, there's drones.
I want 1%.
That's insane. So you went, you grew up in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how long were you out there for?
Not for long. I moved out here with my parents when I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
So it's not a long time, but I spent a good decent amount of my childhood there, and I came to El Paso, and of course, went to high school out here. So I basically grew up in El Paso because, when you go through, your teenage years, that's kind of what really counts.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah.
But I I always enjoyed El Paso.
Yeah, definitely. I lived in Florida too, and I moved 5 years ago. So I know we were talking a little bit about El Paso's history and mentality, and El Paso's definitely been changing, over the last couple of years. And that's why a lot of people will talk, shit about people that move back to El Paso. But I think when you leave El Paso, you realize how much potential there is in the city. How much potential, especially coming back now, you just see the growth, and it's like, holy shit, it's happening now.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because right now, in my industry, El Paso has a huge, market for small businesses, that are in need for a lot of the products.
There's so much support too from the city. I mean, before the city didn't support anything local. Not even concert tickets were being sold. But now it's like you have a local business, and that's all you need. People want to shop local, and I think that's really gonna help our economy.
El Paso's driven by locally owned businesses,
right?
And a lot of them do really well here.
Yeah.
They don't ever need to expand outside El Paso, because, like you said, people in El Paso like to stay local. Being local matters here.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that's a part of what drives the community as a whole,
Yeah. No, definitely. And you see it too. I mean, even on the podcast, we're having a bunch of local business owners, entrepreneurs, and it's like, you just see the community, like really coming together. So I like it. I really am excited for the direction El Paso's headed. And I'm excited to even start a family here too. Like, this is the perfect city to do that in.
Right.
If you're thinking about buying a house out here, call me up.
I will. I'm still a little indecisive about that.
Buying a house?
I'm really wishy-washy about, like I said, don't get me wrong. I love El Paso. I enjoy it. The community is awesome. But I think I still don't see myself here permanently. But, it was in part of me wanting to come back here. This year was one, because, I came back and forth a lot, and I was really starting to tap into the small business market, and I thought, what, I really want to just drive,
right,
that market. But, in part was, because when I left El Paso, I was a completely different guy. I'm in financial services, and I was failing math 0301 at EPCC. Just completely hard.
That's the intro one, right?
Yeah, I never would have ever assumed that your boy would be in financial services.
Right. So what were some of your previous jobs before getting into that? And we haven't even touched on what Daniel does, and you're a financial advisor. Your financial planning.
So there's so many different categories of financial advising, but I can't legally call myself a certified financial planner because I don't have the CFP license.
Okay.
So I specialize in, life insurance, annuities, helping people accumulate some supplemental retirement income, helping people put away for their future, of course, protecting their families, their loved ones, if God forbid something were to happen to them. And then with the small business market, I'm really driving those, those employee benefit products.
Right.
Because it's funny, and I really realized this through the individual market in El Paso, is, when a lot of people would come to me and they said, well, it's because my work doesn't offer anything.
Yeah.
So a lot of
especially part-timers, right?
A lot of them are forced. As a matter of fact, today I had a guy call me, and he said, I keep up with you on Instagram. I know you have a firm going, and I would love, I'd love to discuss the opportunity to see if we can work together. And I'm not going to say the name of the company. Like, I'm not going to talk any crap here, but it's, I'm saying, well, why don't you like ABC company? They have great pay. And he's like, they don't give me any benefits. And he's like, and I just recently had a kid. And these kinds of things are important. And so for me, I was like, that's a hot lead. I was like, put a word in for your HR. Have them give me a ring, and then also, we'll talk about that. But those are some of the things that I hear in El Paso. But it's not because a lot of these business owners, it's not that they don't want to. It's not that they, are required. Well, if they have a certain number of employees that have to offer medical
right. There's certain labor laws that require.
Right. But the thing is, it's a lot of these employers, like small 25 to 50 man businesses, they just don't know, because nobody's ever really approached them, and none of the employees have ever really stepped up and said, hey, can we do benefits? And nobody really knows enough about how to acquire it. Like, a lot of people think it just comes directly from work. Well, nobody realizes that work acquires it through an insurance broker outside that
Right.
facility, you know?
So why, everybody's a worker. Obviously, a lot of people have jobs, and that's, I think, the case with most people is that some people just don't have those benefits. I remember I was at a corporate job, and I had benefits, and starting even just my entrepreneurial business, there's some pros to it and some cons. Is you're your own. You got to find your own insurance.
Yeah.
You're not employed by
1099,
anybody.
no?
So why should somebody get insurance? What are some reasons why people should even consider getting insurance if they don't have it already?
That's a really good question. And one of the things I say to my clients all the time is, insurance and financial products are not a one size fits all. Do you have a wife? Do you have any kids? Mm-hmm. But you're a realtor. You're trying to make money and put something away for your future, right?
100%.
So like for you specifically, I'm going to recommend something different. I'm going to recommend a product that's going to allow you to build cash value. So, by the time you're of age 65, you'll start receiving distributions of that cash value to help add additional supplemental retirement income. Because,
Right.
we're young guys. We like the idea of growth and, that we can get interest earned on our money, right? Versus
The longevity of it.
Right. And like, this is just an example. I'm not married. I don't have kids. But, say for me, for instance, let's say I'm a 35-year-old male. I work a full-time job. I'm a truck driver. Mm-hmm. And we all know that on the road, there are more accidents than any other location on this planet.
I think I was actually watching the news or something. I don't even know if I probably saw it on my phone. But drunk driving has gone down. Mm-hmm. Negligent driving has gone up. That's fucking insane because everybody's on their phone.
That also goes to show that people are just dumb with or without alcohol.
Yeah, like you don't need alcohol. That's true.
Welcome to El Paso.
Right?
We're just dumb with or without. But like my needs as a 35-year-old male who's a truck driver, something could happen to me where if something happens to me on the road, either I become disabled and I can't work and I have no income, or the worst of worst happens, I pass away.
Right.
The banks don't care. Credit card companies don't care. You still got to make your fucking payments.
Yeah.
They
don't feel sorry for you and okay, sorry.
Do you honestly think that the bank is going to knock on your door? I'm so sorry for your loss. You know what? We'll let you live here for free for a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, the bills are
that'd be
still
great, but
in.
unfortunately, that's just not how it is.
Business.
I definitely wish it was different, but there are certain things we don't have control over.
Right.
And so it really does act as a means to protect your loved ones. And a lot of people say, well, I don't need it. I'm like, well, that's exactly the point. You don't need it. Your wife needs it. Your kid needs it.
Because we're all going to die, right? So we can have this conversation.
And it's a touchy conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Because nobody likes, like I say all the time, like, when you die. And they're like, no, don't say that. I'm like, look, you know what? Do you want me to help or not?
Yeah.
These things happen.
It's going to happen. Every single one of us is going to die, But I think having even just as simple as, okay, the average funeral, costs what?
$15,000.
$15K.
More or less.
And for you to leave your family not only mourning the loss, but also having to deal with, the bills and stuff. And I'm just saying because I've seen families go through it, and I think it makes it even more draining and difficult for you to not only try and mourn and get over that situation, but have to worry about fucking money. Because I think money's obviously the number one root of all evil. And money's good, but money also is one of the main problems with people in general. They don't have any. They don't have enough.
You know what's funny about that statement? And probably a lot of people are going to put me on blast about this, but I'm going to say it. A lot of people say money is the root of all evil. Well, have you ever seen what poverty does?
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. I have been driven to do more shit in times of poverty than when I had money.
Yeah.
Or when I was okay.
Because that brings out something different, right? But you shouldn't be feeling. Right. You didn't want that to come out when you're dealing with something else like that.
Right.
With a death in the family or anything like that.
It's not everything, but it's it's definitely, like you said, you just don't want to worry.
Right.
And that's and that also is in part, well, not in part, entirely why I really sought entrepreneurship, was because my philosophy and my belief and was kind of like, well, we're always worrying about a mortgage, we're always worrying about our car payment, we're always worrying about this, we're always worrying about that. Like, what do we actually worry about when we don't worry about any of that shit?
Yeah.
Like,
We're going to find something to worry about.
Like, what comes next? What's really important?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times we never really have the opportunity to figure out what's important to us because we spend our lives, you know, trying to pay our bills, trying to make our, you know, just we don't have time to really assess those kinds of things.
You just get caught up, I think. I think everybody does, you know, and it's really, I think self-awareness has a lot to do with people, you know, being mediocre to being successful is having that self-awareness to, hey, take a step back. What do I really want to accomplish? Yeah, I have bills. Yeah, I have the 9 to 5, but what is my real desire? What's my goal, you know? And for those entrepreneur-driven people, I mean, they find the 8 to 2 a.m. to work on that craft while they're working there full-time. But a lot of people don't make that connection, and they'll get caught up 30 years into it, and, you know, before they know it, they're unmotivated to do that dream that they had 30 years ago. And you're just getting caught up in this rat race of paying bills, getting through this month to get through the next month, to get through the next month, to get through the next month. So, yeah, I think having a financial plan, you know, a backup plan, a plan B, a plan, hey, we're gonna die, you know, something's gonna happen, is super important. That's what kind of worries me is that, I mean, we'll probably talk after this, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know, as a realtor, I'm a independent contractor, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people like that don't have that backup plan. Yeah, we could have some savings, nice savings and things like that, but when it comes down to it, I mean, even having a retirement plan, I think it's important to not put your money all in one basket and have the market work for you, you know, have those annuities, have those programs available to you working every single month, every single year, so that you can have something to fall back on.
And, you know, I tell a lot of young people, you know, me personally, I have my own index universal life policy and I have my own fixed index annuity, you know, because I understand that I'm going to get to a point, maybe as a young guy, you know, I'm not thinking about retirement, I'm not even thinking about dying, but, you know, I've actually witnessed firsthand my clients in their mid-40s that are just barely starting to try to put something together. And let's say they want XYZ, you know, in that annuity or in that cash value account by the time they're 65 years of age.
Right.
But at age 45, obviously you're going to have to contribute a lot more to accommodate for that shorter amount of time.
Right.
And so I encourage all the young guys, I'm like, look, start young, you know, for something really small that could grow over time and compound interest. That, of course, is also going to provide a death benefit and living benefits, which, by the way, a lot of people don't ever consider, you know, when acquiring life insurance. Is nobody realizes that in addition to like having that cash value, having that death benefit, you also have what's called living benefits. So if I were to become chronically ill, you know, have cancer, get a stroke, heart attack, blindness, paralysis, I can actually access a portion of that death benefit.
Nice.
And for a lot of people that don't have health insurance, you know, that really comes in handy because the insurance, you know, it's, you know, here's that money and you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
So it's really something good to have as far as, you know, your income and your longevity.
Right. I mean, we're all humans.
No, it really does, and you know, that brings me to my next story as to why I'm still in this industry. And it's funny because, you know, I'm gonna try not to get emotional about it, but you know, when I got started in this industry, obviously I was a young guy. I mean, we still are.
How old were you when you started?
I was 23 when I got licensed. About 23. And you know, it's funny because you know, like, I mean, what drove you to wanting to sell houses? I mean, let's be real here.
So I'll tell you, and I was actually thinking about that. I'm glad you brought it up. I was thinking about it today. Okay, I was actually talking to Valle, my assistant, and I remember when I got to Miami, Florida. Miami is totally different from El Paso. If you're gonna get even an apartment, you need a realtor. You need a realtor.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so overwhelming, especially if you don't know the area. Like, I didn't know where I should live.
That's crazy.
I knew where I was gonna work, but I was like, I don't know what the good area, bad area. I don't know where to go. I don't know, you know, am I gonna get screwed over here compared to over here? So I got this realtor. His name was Ray, and this guy showed me the best experience ever. Like, he literally, I didn't know the city. He took me in his car. I had my car on a U-Haul. He picked me up from my hotel, and he would take me to these showings to see these apartments, and he would drive me through the areas. Like, hey, if you live in this area, this is called Miracle Mile. There's a whole bunch to do here. This is Flanagan's. They got this special on Tuesday. This is a cool spot because you're young and you can, you know. He was showing me and walking me through everything, and he had patience. He gave me such a good experience that I was like, if I'm ever a realtor, I'm gonna be like this guy, because he was so attentive. And I remember that the call I made before him to another realtor, this lady straight up told me, what's your time frame? Are you serious? I don't want you to waste my time. Like, stuff like that. And I was just like, damn, like, sounds like she's gonna kind of rush me, you know? So I got to El Paso, and I was barely getting my head around, I want to be a realtor. I was gonna get my license in Miami, and I already painted the picture that I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to be this type of realtor. I wanted to be Ray from Miami. And I got here, and I really, like, what really made me want to be a realtor and what has me so passionate about what I do, I mean, pumping out the content that I pump out for free, helping agents, helping people just understand real estate, is that I feel like the customer, the consumer, needs a better example of what a realtor should be. I think there's too many realtors or just sales professionals in general that don't have the best interest in mind for that client, and they're putting their best interest first. What's gonna pay me the most commission? How can I get this person in the house the fastest? And my mentality is 100% different, because I really feel people deserve a better type of realtor. People need to believe in realtors again, and just sales in general. You know? Yeah, because I feel like when you hear sales, or, you know, if you go to the mall and you're walking through the mall, you're getting pitched by 20 different people.
Yeah, as the saying goes, people love to buy, but nobody likes to be sold.
Yeah. And to that, you know, I've learned, sell to people that want to be sold. You know, sell to people that want a house. And I just feel like, you know, the people deserve a better version of realtors, and that's why I actually do a lot of content videos, not only for, you know, informative videos for people that are thinking about buying a house or selling a house, but I'm also doing videos for realtors. Like, hey, if you're starting real estate, this is what you should be doing. This is how I made my first $15,000 in real estate. This is how I got my first transaction. Because I think passing that knowledge, the good knowledge, the right way to do things, is the only way to do it. You know?
Right.
So in the year and a half that I've been a realtor, I've really been pushing this thing in my head where I want people to follow my lead. I want realtors to follow my lead. And so far, I mean, there's a lot of realtors that ask me for advice, and I'm glad and I'm happy to give the right advice. You know? So that's why I'm a realtor. I just think that this experience should be special, and I'm really trying to provide that. Still figuring it out, but we're still trying to provide that, you know?
That's a really great why.
Yeah.
I don't think you really hear that, especially you know, in realty, or, you know.
Yeah. I think
It's
a lot
awesome.
of people do real estate just to get rich, you know? A lot of people want to be an entrepreneur to get rich.
I want to do, you know, I want to do, at one point, wanted to do real estate just to
Yeah.
get rich, you know?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? But I think having a deeper why is going to take you a lot farther than just getting rich. Because to get rich, you know, everybody's interpretation of rich is different. Could be $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. That number will always change, especially with inflation. So it
Right.
doesn't matter, you know? But if your motivation for anything that you do is a little bit deeper than that, I think you can go a lot farther.
That makes
So
sense.
I'm really excited to hear your why and why you got into this industry.
Well, you know, when I got into the industry, of course, you know, I was younger. I was in a bit of a tight situation, you know, and I was just looking for something. You know, I at that point, I was like, you know, God, I don't know, just make something work, right? And so I started, I had a couple friends from the El Paso area, believe it or not, that, you know, went off to other cities, and, you know, they opened up other, you know, like property casualty insurance agencies, you know, no biggie, but they were doing well,
Right.
you know, and I just kind of said, well, you know, I'll give it a go, right? And my mom, actually, my parents have a background in the insurance and financial services industry. My
Nice.
mom was an insurance, my dad, prior to being an attorney, he was a stockbroker.
Awesome.
So there's definitely some background there.
A lot of inspiration from your parents.
Yes, and I'll just quickly add on to the fact that it's my parents really, especially my father and my mother, really are my biggest inspirations, because when we were living in Chicago and when we came to El Paso, like most people, most kids are born into an economic situation.
Mm-hmm.
They're either born wealthy or they're either born wealthy or they're either born And so, but I was born into a situation, we lived in a okay neighborhood, low to middle class. But as I grew older, I actually witnessed my father on the rise with his law practice.
Really?
So I actually witnessed the hustle and I witnessed his growth, and I grew up with that, and that was very inspirational to me. So it's like
for you to see firsthand somebody, so at the time he was an attorney, you said?
He was an attorney.
Okay.
I mean, he's 72, so he was into the finance before I was born.
Nice.
But he was an attorney, from when I was born and whatnot. But like I said, I saw him on the rise growing up. We went from living in a little, it wasn't a bad neighborhood. It was a nice little middle class. You ever see those bungalows? Those bungalow homes, like in the northern, like Philadelphia, Chicago, like New York, like those style homes.
Yeah.
We lived in a neighborhood like that.
Okay.
It was cute. It was
American.
Maybe a couple of rapists around the corner. Just don't go there. But I mean, it's
just check the website. See where they're at.
Just check out the window before you walk.
Yeah.
But I really actually witnessed that firsthand, and I saw the process of him. Going from this house, then to this house, then to that house, from this car, then to that car, and it was...
You saw the struggle,
I saw
the grind, you saw the...
I really saw the grind, and even though, I didn't really see him much growing up, as an adult, I look at that as man, you probably served a better purpose in my life than playing fucking baseball with me.
Right.
Seriously.
He set you up,
He really... Yeah, maybe as a kid, what the hell, you never spend time with me, but now as an aspiring entrepreneur myself, I really admire that.
That's awesome.
So it's so definitely
that's crazy.
A lot of admiration there.
Yeah, and I think it's so just intense to kind of compare the day and age that you're living in right now compared to your dad when he started this,
Yeah.
If this was 20, 25 years ago, the world was 100% different. So you saw a struggle like no other struggle that you and I probably have had to do yet.
Yeah.
That's the real truth. Because we have social media. We got, the fucking internet.
And I think to an extent that's why I chose the industry that I'm in. Because I'm kind of, because how most, what is it, is it Generation Z? No? Millennials and Generation Z? Or is it X? It's Z, right?
X.
Generation I
X.
think it's Generation
Is that
Z.
a movie?
No, it's how they classify, there's millennials.
Right.
I think it's Generation Z, but millennials and Generation Z, there's this kind of whole movement of fuck college, all this
entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. This we see all these, we see all these things, e-commerce, you can make $500,000 sitting on your ass on your laptop now.
Yeah.
And
make a fucking $1 million with a YouTube channel.
I know, and it's phenomenal. But I was always kind of I like to define myself as I'm kind of the hybrid of perhaps maybe the old the older school generation in combination with maybe the millennials, whereas I wanted to find an industry, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be self-employed, I want to make as much as I want to make, but I wanted to be in an industry that's been around.
Yeah.
And
that's
life
established.
Life insurance most of the insurance companies that I write business for have been around since the freaking Civil War.
Damn.
A lot of people. Yeah, I know that throws a lot of people off. So a lot of people ask
when though? I was really bad at history.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me oh, how long has this been company around? Actually, ma'am, they paid out some of their first claims in the Civil War. It was for $500, and they actually struggled to pay it. It's really cool, right?
500.
You never would have thought that this industry really went that far back. And I guess I thought what better. If you want to be a little bit more financially educated,
right,
and a little bit more financially well off, go into the financial industry.
Right. Learn about finance, get in the mix.
Because a lot of the things that I learn and I'm applying, I'm applying it, to my own practices.
Right.
It has the Jaguar. Like, I don't need that. Like,
Right. You get
that was just bad. I just wanted it out. Like,
Yeah.
at that point, I didn't even care about the Insta pics. I didn't even care about the ooh, look at me. I was like, man, this thing is
not
a
functional.
pain in the ass.
It's not functional.
I straight up was looking into a fucking Chevy Impala, bro. I thought they're nice. I was like, I can drive them around. Like, I really was at that point where I was like, fuck luxury. I need something practical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of maintaining.
And even that, like, I saw a video yesterday, just last night. I went to sleep at like 4 in the morning and said, I got Gucci bags, you know why. But I was watching a video with Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, and he was saying that that owning a car is the worst investment, and obviously it makes sense, right? Monthly.
I know
payment.
that now.
But it's like monthly payment, insurance, gas. There's so many variables that go into owning a car. He's like, I'm a multi-millionaire. I can buy any car I want. It's like, I Uber everywhere. He's like, it's so cheap. It's way cheaper, and I don't have to worry about parking. I don't have to worry about gas, insurance, all that stuff. And it's true. Like, I even look at my sister's lifestyle in New York. If you have a car in New York, you must be rich, or you must be okay with the struggle of owning a car. Because owning a car in New York is a bitch. Like, it's worse than not owning a car.
So it's funny. I also still drive around a I think it's a '96 Honda Civic.
I saw that. That was your first car, no?
That was, so my grandmother actually left that car behind after she passed. You want to know how many miles it had on it? 39,000. Because she lived in the city of Chicago. She never used it. So that thing just...
She was taking like
metros.
metros.
That thing was almost brand freaking new, man. And it was great. But of course, it was older, so a lot of the salt corrosion from, like when you're
especially
up north, so just started
moisture.
Like, I kid you not, one time the muffler just fell off. Just straight up just fell off. Heard the biggest cling in the world, and then the car sounded like an airplane. I was like, what the actual hell, right?
On the freeway or what?
Yeah, I was in LA. I was trying to parallel park, and I was like stepping on the gas to like get into the spot, and then I just hear and I was like, shit,
holy
all right.
shit.
That was lit.
So talking about LA, you started Chicago, then you got into this industry. You were looking for one of those outlets, a vehicle that you can, be successful, and a vehicle that was not only, gonna make you some money, but was also established. So finding that vehicle, walk me through what was your first, year like in this industry. What were some of those lessons that you learned?
I understand. Well, one of the first things I immediately learned about living in Los Angeles is that it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, just
California dirt is expensive.
it's really. I mean, I'm not even laughing about it. It's really expensive, and I was working. I got really lucky out there, and I went out there. It's funny. A lot of people go, "Why do you go out there?" And to be quite frank with everybody, I don't know why I left, but I think I just needed to leave El Paso. I just needed to leave. I was tired of certain influences out here. I think I just needed to break free of that negative circle. I just needed to get the fuck out.
Yeah, fuck it.
I was tired of the drama. I was tired of, everyone's politics, everyone's rules, everyone's bullshit. And I just kind of gave everybody the finger, and I just said, you know what, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I literally packed my shit in that Honda Civic, and I just drove overnight, and I didn't look back. And I'm glad I did. I struggled, but I'm glad I did that. Could I have turned back? I had some cash in my pocket where I could have just said, you know what, this isn't working out and leaving, but I just did not want to go back.
Yeah, you had to make it work.
I was not.
Yeah.
I couldn't come back.
Yeah.
It was just, I needed to leave, and I think also maybe send everybody a message. A lot of people were, like I said, people here can be very political.
Right.
So to speak, and there's a lot of drama behind it.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of my way of giving people the finger and saying, you know what, I'm not going to abide by your rules, by your politics, by your drama. And all these people that talk about loyalty seems to be overused in El Paso. Like, bro, you're an entrepreneur now, you're not loyal to me. The fuck?
Yeah.
Who do I have to be loyal to? The only person
Right.
I'm loyal to is myself.
Yeah,
unless you're gonna pay my
that-
bills, and I'll be loyal to you all damn day. But
Yeah.
I mean, your opinions are not gonna pay my bills. Your whatever obligation you feel like I have towards you, it's not gonna serve me any. It's not gonna benefit me in any way. So I just left. And upon getting out there, of course, like I said, it was very expensive, and You know, I was always a theater kid, Manny. I really liked getting up on stage and being active and being fun and being crazy. That was like my outlet, you know.
So you're like an actor, singer?
We'll say. But no, I really enjoyed performing arts. I enjoyed being on stage and just acting, and I just was kind of looking around, not knowing what to do. I said, well, I'll just go for that, you know. And so I got myself an agent through some connections because I had some prior modeling experience with Wilhelmina in LA and New York, and through that I was able to get some, I was able to connect with my manager, and he just started working with me one-on-one, and I went for some auditions, when I had the opportunity, when I was not working and whatnot. I was just trying to figure shit out, man.
Figure it out. See what you like. See what works.
I was just, like I said, I just needed to get out of here, clean my head, and just figure out, what it is.
Yeah.
What I want. What I want. What I aspire to be.
And what did you learn? What did you learn as far as that experience out there in California? I feel like I could really relate, because when I left to Florida, I remember thinking that same thing. I just had to get out. There was something.
You feel conflicted, right?
And it's not even the city, I think what I realized too, moving to Miami, is that everyone says the same thing. There's nothing here in the city. I want to leave. There's no opportunity. The city sucks. Everybody says the same thing. I went to Miami.
They say that over there too.
People that live there their whole life. I was thinking I'm living in the most luxurious city in the world. Like, everybody wants to live here. People that grew up there were telling me, I want to get out of here. I want to go to Texas. I want to go to Tennessee. And I was just like, really? So it's the same everywhere.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
And that's when I realized, it's not the city. It's not the influences. Because the influences and all that other stuff, all those other variables, I think are 100% controllable by you, by me. So when I left, I felt like I wasn't in control of my circle. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I just had to break out of this little circle I was in, this little routine. I was dealing with so much drama. I remember I was just like, I'm over this city. I applied for this position. I got it. And it was literally 2 weeks and you're out. And when I left, I was like, this is going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard. First 8 months were the toughest. But when I hit that first year, it went so quick, and I just realized, like, holy shit. I realized that I stopped doing a lot of stuff that I didn't like in El Paso. I stopped going out every night. I stopped, because I was in this little, the typical El Paso.
You were just,
I was an El Pasoan, And I think breaking away from the circle, learning, getting influenced by people that I wanted to be like, people that I aspired to be like, really positioned me to come back, see the potential. I had a freaking different perspective of the city when I got back, because I stepped out of that circle, and it wasn't until I moved to Miami where I realized I'm 100% in fucking control of everything that is going on in my life. Like, I realized to that point, like, holy shit, if I'm feeling like sad, it's because there's something that I'm doing in my life that's making me sad. What is it,
Right.
What is it? And I think getting to that point, getting to that level is really what people sometimes need. I have so many friends, family members that are going through that phase, where you're trying to figure shit out. And you're depressed and you're lost and you're confused and all these emotions are going through you. But I think it really comes down to understanding who you are, That's what you really have to do before you can get to that next level, before you get to that growth, that people are experiencing, that you're experiencing right now in your business, that I'm experiencing in my business. We had to go through some shit to get there. It's not like you figured it out from one day to the next. And I'm sure going through your business, the first year, second year, you had doubts like, should I be doing this? Like, is this really what, And
sometimes I still have doubts.
Yeah.
Like today I walked into, Today I had a meeting with a big trucking company, and I had a moment where I'm like, man, like, can I like who am I, just this guy walking into this big company like that?
25-year-old walking into a big old company.
Hits, yeah. It still hits me sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's, through discipline, you just naturally learn to turn it off.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure you get moments like that sometimes.
Oh, I've probably said at least 8 times this year, I need a fucking new job. No lie, like, I really have. But it's the journey. I think it's such a good process when you figure things out, when you have that good feeling, and when you understand when you're on that roller coaster, that entrepreneurial roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs, there's a lot of that stuff, but getting through it, seeing that final destination is really where it's at. So kind of talking a little bit about, we know what you do. What is, the future hold for Daniel? What is your ultimate goal here in El Paso and in your industry?
I'm trying to build $1 million a year agency. Million meaning everybody's writing $1 million in premium combined. I'm trying to keep it, within a small group of individuals. I don't want to grow too big right now. I just want to focus individually on, these people. And, I just want to develop some leaders. But of course, I want to continue to build my own book of business.
Right.
I want to continue, servicing local businesses, helping out families, retirees, investors in any way that I can. Because, at the end of the day, that's really what it is all about. It's just helping people out.
Yeah. I mean, helping people out is definitely why I like to do things. And I know it sounds cliche, for people in business to just be like, this is why I'm doing it, because I love people.
I love to help people.
But at the end of the day, you really do have to have some sort of love for people if you are going to be in this type of industry. And you can't fake that.
And I'll tell you, and I don't think I ever got the opportunity to touch up on this. I think maybe I got distracted. I'm ADD. So it's
I am too, so that's not going to help this.
I'm like super ADD, I know, right? But with regard to, I wanted to get in this industry because, it was high paying. It was, I was a young guy just trying to do something better, But one of my first clients passed away. He was going through he was a young guy like myself, he wanted to put something together for, he didn't really care so much about the life insurance aspect. He wanted to put something together for retirement. So, I got him a life insurance product that was going to help him build some money for, help supplement his retirement income and whatnot. But he did have a death benefit, and he went through an intersection in LA, and some guy blew the red light and bang, that was it. Like that was it. And it's crazy, it's young guys like you and I, and and I think that's when it really hit me. I was like, oh shit, I gotta go deliver the check to his family.
Wow.
And it was, so I flew out to, his family was in a little town outside Branson, Missouri. I'm trying to keep myself composed about the story, but it's you really, when you walk in there and everybody's still in grief and still, it's I couldn't help but break down as I was crying, and I was trying to hold the check and not trying to pronounce my word, and I gave them all.
It's emotional.
It was
you
really
get involved too. You're not just a robot.
Yeah.
You have relationships with these people.
So it was, and I think that was really, and of course, I went to the funeral, and I think that's when it really hit me. Man, this is a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah.
This is a big job. And it also kind of, in a way, scared me just a little bit, because I'm just man, every time somebody dies, do I have to go do this? Because I was always the type of guy that I like to, avoid those kinds of emotions. Because once I'm in it, man, I'm in it,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, it
fucks me up.
Yeah, seriously.
That shit fucks me up.
I'm either completely just, or I'm just, I can be like a kid sometimes. And, so and I think that, like I said, that's when it really dawned on me, man, this isn't just some money-making endeavor. This really is a matter of life and death.
You have families.
Yeah, you're really
responsible for.
And that also, gonna, make a little statement here. They say they say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, you should have seen the look on their faces when I delivered that check, and they were going to keep the house. And the house is paid off.
Yeah, because they're not only dealing with that, they're dealing with all the issues. They don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty, I'm sure, in one of those situations, and how tough it is. But that does put your job in perspective too. It made me realize that your job is really important. You're not just a salesperson. You're actually looking out for the best interests of these people. And that's tough. I think that's really hard for you to even just be in that position.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. This is just supposed to be, like I said, I was a young guy just trying to make good income. That's not supposed to happen. This is just supposed to be some awesome endeavor, that's going to yield great results. As I get better and better at it. Like, nobody's supposed to die. Like, I'm not supposed to go do this, but, I had to do it. That was my job. That was what I signed up for. And, I embraced that, and I don't want to say I'm glad it happened, but I think it was definitely a very heartwarming experience that, really made me realize, you know what, this is probably where I think I'm going to stick around.
Yeah.
I really, after all of it, subsided, I said, this is, I didn't get anything out of doing that. I didn't get anything out of flying out there, to Missouri and delivering. I paid for the plane ticket on my own. And of course, he was my friend's family. Like, I'm not going to, I didn't get anything out of that. I just did it to do it because, well, one,
it's the right thing to do.
One, I wanted to do it. Two, it's my job.
Yeah.
So it's
tough.
Yeah, it was a tough experience. I think it kind of beat me up emotionally for a little while after that.
Right. But I mean, I'm sure, that's one of the other reasons why it's important to have a plan. Mm-hmm. Because situations like that, I'm sure, the family was stressing. Family was going through some stuff, and that check, knowing that he was looking out for the family.
The mom was hysterical.
Yeah.
Can you imagine losing your son? And I think that's the worst thing, is like, I saw parents losing a child.
Yeah.
That's tough. So that's something I like to think about.
Yeah.
Hearing a mother cry over her lost son.
Right. That's tough, man. But I mean, more power to you. That's just, more motivation to help more families avoid situations that could be a lot worse, What would you say is probably one of your favorite things about this industry? Aside from, giving that reassurance and giving those game plans, but, what is one of your favorite things about what you do?
Like I said, God forbid I have to go and hand another check to anybody soon. But I think it's, there are instances like that where you're really doing a big service, to somebody. And even as far as like for instance, I had somebody with, with a very, I won't give out any personal details, but it's like I had somebody with a very, terrible illness. And, there are people out there that are in those conditions that really need the life insurance because, they know.
Yeah.
They know it's important, also hence why it's good to think about it ahead of time. But, they just know. Mm. But they're looking for that because, and even the family knows that they can't, won't be able to pay for burial, cover the rest of the mortgage, and might have to sell a house. All these, differentiating factors that really drives, the individual to want to see coverage. But it's hard because, when somebody's really sick like that, it's hard to find them coverage. Some companies won't.
Some people don't qualify, right?
Some companies won't even talk to you.
Yeah. Because you're already sick. It's like putting car insurance on a car that's crashed.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's.
You really have to find a company that's gonna, okay, well, aside from the crashes, we'll cover you.
And I think what really, and I was able to find a product for them from a company that nobody has ever heard of. It's called United Home Life, and they actually are really good with like people who are
in situations
like in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, like we hear about all these big companies, AIG, Mutual of Omaha, Allstate, Prudential, New York Life, but like what the heck is United Home Life? Mm-hmm. But I was able to find it for them and write them a product, and I was able to get them something. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough. It was enough to. It's called. It's called the critical period concept. Whereas, like, say if you have $200,000 on the mortgage, if I can't get you $200,000, what I'll do is I'll find you 50 because that'll allow you to continue making mortgage payments for at least, obviously, depending on how much your mortgage is, at least a year or two. It buys you time to figure out, what you're going to do. Are you going to
sell it?
Yeah. And I was able to do something like that for him. And you know what? I didn't make much. you know, but it really was very satisfying just knowing that like I was able to get them something.
Right.
You know, when nobody else, which, you know, is also why I like being a broker versus an agent. Because
What's the difference for those that don't know? Because I don't know.
So you walk into State Farm, right? They can only sell you State Farm products.
Okay.
You walk into Allstate, they can only sell you Allstate products. A broker can sell products from multiple companies.
So you're like the price line of. You give quotes for all these companies.
I work on behalf of the consumer. I don't work on behalf of a company.
Okay.
So it's like if you're looking for something specific, I'm going to gather your information. You know,
We're gonna find it.
You know, and I'm going to go do the shopping for you.
Cool.
You know, and a lot of brokers will charge a fee for that because there is manual labor in going back and doing all the homework and.
Sounds like a realtor's job.
It really is, you know. But like, you know, I don't charge any fees because you know I already make, you know, we make commission on the products, and you know I'm not trying to be selfish about
You're
it.
taking
Right?
care
You know,
of
somebody, you know, you're trying to look for something, you know, I'll help you out.
Right.
And so that's how it works.
Right. That's cool, man. You know, growing your business. How long you been in business?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. Growing your business, you know, just in general as an entrepreneur, I think a lot of people misinterpret that term. You know, they think entrepreneur is just like, hey, I quit this job and now I'm my own boss. But building your business for the last 3 years,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure has been tough. I'm sure there's been a lot of trials, tribulations.
Of course.
Even for real estate, you know, I could give you a million stories about, you know, what to avoid, what not to do. Some stories that shit I wanted to, you know, quit.
And I'm really grateful that I got started where I got started, because when I got started, and just to give you an idea of the income potential in this industry, there is an international organization called MDRT, which stands for $1 Million Round Table Association. It's literally people making $1 million and over in commissions a year.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough where, you know, to when I got started with a company and with, you know, a couple executives that were all members of the MDRT board.
Wow.
So when I got started, I hit the ground running.
You got
I
mentorship.
ran.
Right.
You know, I just, you know, it was, how many people, you know, did you call 100? You know, how many people did you call today? 100. Call 200 more.
Cold
you know,
calling.
it's like you got to build your foundation.
Yeah.
Your first year is crucial. You got to build your leg. You need to build your clients. So it was really.
What would you kind of say? You know, if there are people here listening that are thinking about getting in that industry, you know, or in general, just wanting to start their own business, wanting to go for it. You know, what advice would you have for that entrepreneur that wants to take that path, that direction?
To do what I'm doing specifically?
What you're doing specifically, or just in general, because I think entrepreneurship in general, if you are going to be successful in anything, you have to have that work ethic. I think it's important to get mentorship. I think those variables go the same way. But what advice would you have for that person listening that wants to get in the industry, or in general just wants to start their own business?
So that's a really good question, and it's hard to answer it correctly because, you know, like when I got started, I was working for one company, and I was what's called a captive agent. I mean, I can only work for that company, sell their products, and I don't own my book of business. So when I left the company took my book of business, right? So I had to start over.
Your leads and all that.
But the benefit that I got was the training, right? So when I was able to hit it again, I was able to hit it, you know, what worked for me the first time.
Go faster.
So I think it's all like, I want to say go work for a company for at least, you know, however long you need to until you can really get the hang of it.
Right.
You know, maybe a year or so. You know, I think for me it was a little bit less, but the downside to that is if you go work for a captive company, you put so much work into building your clientele, your book of business, but if you leave, you don't take your book of business.
Right.
So that's kind of the downfall. So I would almost recommend start independent, but it's hard because if you don't know anybody, if you've never done it before,
You're on your own.
you're really on your own.
Right.
And it's really difficult as an independent because also when you're captive, you know, like you have the branding behind your back. You have the company, you know, you got, some companies might give their agents leads, some companies don't, but you know, you're always going to have, there's a lot of advantages to going to work for one company.
Right.
But, you know, so I would say, you know, if you can find someone who knows the industry, but find someone who knows it on the high end, who's really making, 6-7 figures a year, who is independent, and of course, make all the right connections on the inside of the industry. And this is kind of a topic in of itself we can talk about another time, because this industry is super political. You're going to go into a company, okay, you can only work for us and nobody else. Mm-hmm. Well, what if I want to be able to broker you guys? Oh no, you can't do that. Whereas, really, you can. They're just going to tell you no.
So it's about getting that experience, or being with somebody that's going to kind of guide you through those.
It's about knowing somebody who's going to open the door to you. For instance, there's a company that I have access to. I haven't written business for it in a while, but the company is notorious for nobody can work for us. We are exclusive with our advisors. We, only a small handful of brokers can write, our products and services. Well, your boy over here has access to it just because he knows the right people on the inside of the industry.
Right. So building your network.
So it's really, it's kind of like how getting verified on Instagram, right? The little blue check mark.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. But if everybody knew how to do it, then,
there's no value in that.
Which is why nobody shares how to do it. And that's exactly how it works.
I know how to
in these
do
companies.
It. We know how to do it, right? Let's verify me. Let's get me verified.
I tried it, by the way.
Did you?
Nah, it didn't work.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. But
that's cool, man. So get a mentor.
I would say
network.
Come talk to me because I have the right connections.
Yeah. And I think that's important too in any industry. I mean, even in real estate, it's the same thing. Once you get your license, you're an independent contractor. You're now a licensed realtor. Get to work. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know what needs to go in on a day-to-day basis.
Welcome to real estate. Go.
Yeah. Congrats. Now go. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be without money. You're going to be without income. You're going to be without clients for a good 6 months, 8 months until you figure it out. But I mean, even me, I started and I paid, somebody almost $8,000 to teach me basics. Very on the surface basics, until I realized okay, shit, what? Learn on my own.
I have one more thing to add on to the, if somebody wants to get started. Disclaimer, I have nothing against multi-level marketing companies. I have nothing against, I was in MLM before for a little while before I got to financial services.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of financial services MLM companies out there that I really do think they're all talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's...
So know your industry.
Really know the industry, and people, you can join our company and you're start at 30%. Like, dude, what if I told you I could get you access to 100% comp from day one and you own your book of business?
Yeah.
Like, people who are inside the industry, understand wait, what? It's because it's rare.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's
But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I think there are a lot of great companies out there that use the MLM platform, and I would definitely do business with, but it's just not something I want to do. I'm not trying to do the MLM life. I'm not.
Yeah.
So I would just say stay away from the MLM companies, insurance companies.
Cool.
Especially because they're going to be focused on. They're going to have you recruiting all the time, not really going out there and prospecting like you should be.
And focusing on the client.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, you're not going to be as incentivized if you're at a certain comp level, and if you want to get to a higher comp, you have to recruit. Whereas I was the type of guy that was like, man, I don't care about recruiting. I don't care about building an agency, man. I just want to be a power producer.
Right.
I want to work for myself by myself. As a matter of fact, I was kind of reluctant to even accept people on board simply because I don't like babying people.
Right.
I like to help people, but it's it is something.
You have to be a specific type of person, I think, to want to train and help people from point A to Z. I actually really like that. I like the nurturing thing, and it's not really a nurturing thing, but I think it's more of an accountability thing, where I help agents that are are very inexperienced get their first leads, you know, and I'll teach them what I did, what worked for me. But I love it. Like, that return for me, I don't get anything out of it. I don't tell this person, hey, give me 50% of that, you know, like most agents will. I get a kick out of showing you and seeing you succeed. That to me is like more of a high than getting 50% commission.
Right.
You know? For some fucking weird reason.
Do you have siblings?
I have a sister.
Oh yeah, you mentioned it earlier. And I think it's because I'm an only child. I think perhaps that's why, like, even in entrepreneurship, it's like I'm very attentive to my own business. You know,
should. I think if you're gonna grow your business, you have to 100% focus only on your own business. But I think if you can manage, only if you can, because there's not a lot of people that can. But if you can manage, you know, caring or worrying about somebody else's business too, then all power to you. There's times where, I mean, I could only handle so many people, you know, trying to learn from me, trying to learn.
And you know, I think, but you know, when I was building my agency this year, you know, there were very specific people and personality types that I was looking for.
Right. You have to.
Because don't get me wrong,
you can't invest your time into everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually do this on occasion. You know, people will reach out to me and tell me, like, real estate, getting your real estate license usually takes people 6 to 8 months. People reach out to me and tell me, on average, I did it in a month. I don't even like to share my story because I don't know any other realtor that's done it in a month. But when people tell me that they want to be a realtor, I tell them, okay, get your license, do all this stuff. I did it in a month.
Yeah.
So I know how much I wanted it. And I know the level that I had to be at. But when people,
and that's the problem,
a year later, still don't have their license and they're still telling me, hey, I'm going to get my license, you're still going to help me? It's like, I'll help you, but I don't know if you're going to help yourself. You know, you do have to be picky, especially with your time. And that's what I realized too. Like, there's a lot of talk too. You know, people just want the glory. They want the closings. They want the clients. They want to sign that, you know, annuity or that plan with that company.
And then of course it takes time on your part to get those, you know, because I mean that's your income.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to invest your time into somebody who's not going to really put their part in, because it's kind of like, all right, look, I got sales. Yeah, I'm gonna go make some sales, right? You know.
Yeah. You could be
when you're ready,
your time.
Let me know.
Yeah, you could be investing your time with something else, but I think finding the right individuals to put in your team and finding the right, you know, if you are looking for that, how can I put it? That
I think I know what you mean.
You know, that feeling of I helped somebody else. It really does have to be a specific person that you are helping. They have to contribute just as much as you are. You know?
And you know, I believe, you know, I definitely believe in the law of attraction, and a lot of the individuals that we're working with right now, it's funny because I didn't chase anybody. They kind of came to me. You know, and they're all real, you know, they're all real close friends, but they're all real power players. As a matter of fact, I have an 18-year-old kid right now. He got his license in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you know, the state took about another 2 weeks for it to send his license in, but he finished the course and took the exam in 2 weeks. An 18-year-old kid.
Didn't that get you excited? Like, holy.
And no, that was like the first time I was probably really I'm looking forward to mentoring somebody who fucking wants it.
Yeah.
That excites me.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I look at that as like, man, like this kid's just, like, he has so much potential, just, you know, waiting to be unleashed. And it's like, I'm happy to be devoting my time to somebody like that.
Yeah.
And somebody
100%.
that also is like, I mean, he had his beard growing out. He had his hair like down to here, you know, real hipster tattoos. I said, and, you know, I don't tell people what to do. I didn't say, dude, you look like crap, you know. But I had a talk with him about being professional, about, you know, the type of people that, like, but I mean, you know, yours looks clean. Like, his was like,
yeah. I'm like, hold up.
No, like, yours is clean. Yours is like, you know, aquí and
yeah.
But what was I going with this? Oh no, but I had a talk with him about, you know, professionalism, and the people we're going to be meeting, and, you know, like, especially in the business market, like, you're a business owner, they see some punk ass kid walking in here like that. Do you really think you're going to earn your business?
No.
They're going to earn you. Yeah, it's common sense.
It's crazy because presentation is everything, and I think in sales, a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the most unconventional realtors. I really do, because the way you're dressed is professional. I mean, this is how every professional should dress. You know, I should be dressing like you.
I thought you were going to. That's why I was like, I gotta.
Honestly, I always I'll wear the suit get up, but I never wear button ups. I'm always wearing like tees, linen tees under my suits, because I'm more functional than showy. I'd rather be comfortable working my 12-hour shift than be in a suit. Because for me, I'm just claustrophobic. Like, ties get me. You know, I'm in the car and I'm like, oh fuck.
But you want to know what else is really interesting about, you know, the professionalism and, you know, dressing that way is, you know, having that theater background and doing some acting. It's almost like there's a part of dressing up as the part that really gets me going and really gets me like, okay, what do we have to do today? You know, today, you know, I have this appointment, I have that appointment, I gotta get this organized. There's something about, and that's probably just me as an actor, just naturally playing along with it, you know, with my career. And
I think in your perspective, you have your idea of where you want to be, who you want to be, and this is your role.
And it's funny, I had a friend, you know, reach out to me recently and they asked, like, you know, what do you do to change or to you know, to develop some part of yourself? And I said, I really approach it as if I'm preparing for a role. Like, excuse me, I'm creating a character for myself.
I'm burping this.
I know, right?
Now I'm creating too.
Like, I'm creating a character for myself.
Right.
And I'm creating that backstory, you know. Who is this person? You know, what does he want? What does he have? You know, what are his biggest fears? What are his greatest aspirations? You know, what drives him? And those are kind of the things that I think about when I'm like creating the individual that I aspire to be. And little by little on a daily basis, I do more to live by the actions and the intentions of that individual, because eventually I want to be that individual.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I forgot who Matthew McConaughey? I don't know if you saw this viral clip that he posted. I know we're already past our time. That's right. But Matthew McConaughey made a speech at a Grammy, I think. I don't know what it was. He made a speech and he basically said, you know, somebody asked me when I was 18 who I wanted to be or what I wanted to be, you know, when I was older, and he replied, I want to be me in 10 years. I want to be me in this version in 10 years. 10 years came by and that same guy asked him, you know, are you that person that you wanted to be? He's like, no. In 10 more years, I'm going to be that person that I have in my mind, you know?
Right now,
and if you are chasing that, I think there's
a constant progression. You're unaware of it.
I mean, there's a quote, if you grow 1% every day, you know, you've literally grown 365% in 1 year. That's compound, you know, that's that compound effect. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, is having that visualization of who you wanted to be, what you want to be, what you want to represent, how you want people to think of you, and going after that is the only way to have that real direction to be that, you know, and see it through and find success and find happiness. It's chasing that person that you want to be, chasing you, that version of you. Because when you're chasing, you know, I'm trying to be like Drake, and I'm trying to be like Ryan Serhant from, you know, $1 Million Listing. You end up falling short because that's not who you are, you know.
And you know, somebody else, we were having a conversation about finding an agent in the entertainment industry, and he was asking me, like, you know, well, what did they look for? And I'm like, look, don't try to go be Leonardo DiCaprio. Don't try to be Matthew McConaughey. They're looking for Manny Carrera.
Yeah. Because I don't even roll my R's like that.
That's great, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever roll my R's like that. That was like a one-time thing.
I say Carrera and people get upset. Yeah, but that's so true.
Better than Del Valle.
Del Valle, right? Del Valle. But yeah, I mean, you really do have to. But I mean, I think you are definitely on the right track, and you're still young. You know, you still have so much growth to go through. You still have so much things to learn, but I think you're really on the right track. I think I just see you and I see like I see you like 35 years old right now, like, and I'm not
35.
saying because you look 35. I'm saying your presentation, your mannerisms,
Thank you.
and just the way you carry yourself is very professional. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I think you're really gonna, do some good work here in El Paso. Help a lot of people. Help a lot of people plan, especially for the future and things like that we really need to consider. What I also like to talk about on this show is social media. I think social media is just skyrocketed potential as far as growing businesses.
Yes.
How have you used social media to help your business, and where can people find you on social media?
See, that's the thing I haven't, because I was taught a very traditional method in the industry, and it's called pick up the phone and cold call businesses, and it's called referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Like, if you do it right, I think now people are scared of it. I don't know why, but you know what? It works.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, I have a personal assistant that I hired that does all that for me now. But I was able to train this person how to do it correctly, so that way they're killer at it.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's actually why I was reaching out to a couple people here in El Paso, because I thought, well, what could I do? Like, I don't see any other financial professional leveraging the power of social media. Like,
Right.
you would as a realtor. And the problem is, it's like, life insurance is not sexy. It's not, ooh, look at the room in this life insurance policy.
Check out this insurance plan. Ooh.
And then with the sexy music. Like, the thing is, it's when people hear the word insurance, everyone thinks of the bill and they just run the opposite way.
Right. It's like I don't.
I
should, but I don't have to.
Yeah, and it's a very touchy topic, but so it's like if it was, that's something I'm still trying to figure out, actually. And I definitely see the power in social media. I know it could take any business to the next level. As a matter of fact, there's something caught my attention. There's a company called Haven Life, and it's a life insurance agency out of New York, and they built a platform where it's like simple $100,000 term, easy apply, and you click and you fill out your information. I'm like, man, that's genius. Like, there's an agent behind that built that is allowing it to run through his license and his agent number.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that really caught my attention, because it's hard in this industry to do things virtually or online. 9 out of 10 times, you're always going to be in front of people filling out an application.
Right.
You have to get a signature. You have to sit in front of a licensed professional for certain things. So I think, it's really hard to innovate, a lot of these things. And, well, how can I make the process simple? Or how can the only thing I can really innovate is how can I increase my appointment settings, because I still have to meet with the person face to face.
Right.
Yeah,
I think leveraging social media, I think, is huge. And you pointed at Sosa right now, so I'm pretty sure you were talking about that.
We talked about that.
And that's one thing that I could tell you for sure. I mean, I was telling
and that's one of the problems I said to him. I was like, look, you know what? I would love to use social media, but how are we going to make insurance look sexy? Like,
there's a lot of ways. I could tell you. I mean, I love building this brand. He could tell you, like, we're always cultivating this thing that we're doing on social.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think it really comes down to focusing on the client, not so much on the product. So if you can have Sosa highlight the families that just got the new plan, or the employees that didn't have insurance for the last 2 years, but now they have peace of mind, and maybe a testimony, or, hey, how do you feel now that you know that your family is going to be taken care of? Things like that can go a long way. Longer than I closed $2 million this month. Things like that are helpful for you and maybe inspirational for other people in the industry, but they don't do anything for that client,
Okay.
And that's why I don't advertise, hey, I'm going to sell $2.2 million next month, we're going to close it. No, I'm focused more on, we're helping this person find a
Can you add
house.
value to the client?
Hey, this person just found a house, they weren't even approved at this lender, we talked to another lender, we got them approved, now they're getting the home of the dreams. So I don't think it's really making it sexy that you need to do. I think it's really focusing on how you can make insurance more valuable.
That's, I'm going to have to take note of that. That's really useful. Thank you.
Well, this is going to be on camera, so you can just go back to it.
I have to take note.
But yeah, that's really, something that I think a lot of people maybe don't understand. It's not bad. It's just it's a new thing, you know.
And
you
I
can
think
make everything.
I think it's because nobody in my industry has done it, so I haven't been able to.
And you can be the first. I mean,
know.
I'll tell you this.
I want to be the first.
I'll tell you
but I don't
this.
know how.
I say this so confidently. I am the only realtor doing what I'm doing right now on social media. I'm the only realtor with a vlog, a podcast. I'm the only realtor pumping out, 3-4 posts a day, 8 to 15 story posts per day.
I would have to agree with that. I must say that you are above and beyond.
Yeah, and I mean
I've definitely noticed
this
that.
takes work. I'm like, social media management in general is a lot of work, But for you to not only just post, but pay attention to the post. How are people, engaging with this post? Is it working? Is it not? Should we run an ad on this or should we not? Should we maybe do a video like this, see if people, pick it up? Social media is just a living, breathing thing that I think has so much potential. A lot of businesses still don't understand it. Mm-hmm. But the people that do are at a huge advantage right now because they're just ahead of the curve. We started this February 1st. February 1st, I was talking to my barber today. I was getting my haircut for the podcast.
That's awesome.
I was getting my haircut with my barber and I was talking to her and I'm like, I started real estate and my first year I did it on my own. I had a great year. I made 6 figures, hit $100,000. Is that 6?
That's awesome.
7? 6 figures.
Just say 7.
Yeah, okay.
Say everything.
7 figures.
What are you still doing here then?
I did it on my own, I did it on my own, but I realized too I did it without video. I did it without a lot of variables that I'm doing right now. So going to an event, paying $1,200 to learn like, hey, this is where the future is at. This is where I need to be doing. We need to do this. I need to get this guy. I need to get this girl. I need to get this person in place. Since February 1st, my business has grown. And not even just in numbers. I'm talking about exposure. People know who I am. People know that I run a podcast when they see me. They don't even know my name, but they're like, hey, you have a Whiskey Wednesday podcast, So all these little variables, even though Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions has nothing to do with real estate, it's about the exposure behind it. It's about...
They know you as a person. They know what you do.
Exactly. And it's about giving also value to the city. Because at the end of it, this underlying message behind this podcast is, hey, there's people doing some big things here in the city. Watch out for them, Putting the spotlight on these people is going to give more value to the city. The people that have lived here for the 5-7 years, that want to get out because they don't see any exposure, they don't see any growth in the city. Well, this podcast, I'm trying to make you understand that, hey, things are happening right now. This is it. Like, we're in it right now. Daniel's over here killing it in his profession. On next Sunday, Erica, opening up her own boutique and getting a whole bunch of support. The market over here on the west side, starting their own business and getting the support from the community, networking with other businesses. That's what it's really all about, So I think social media is, I'm fucking excited to be living right now, I'm happy that we weren't living, through the struggle that your dad had to go through, talking about that, I'm sure you saw the cold calling, the door knocking,
it's
the newspapers.
funny, I actually saw what he did, and my dad had a major advantage. He could speak Spanish.
In Chicago.
So he used to go to a lot of Spanish speaking neighborhoods, and he used to do a bunch of seminars for businesses and give free legal advice. And he would do that, and people got to know him for that. He built his clientele like that. I think there was a span where he was just, I think he made about $500,000 in a span of about 4 to 5 or 6 months, just from doing something like that.
That's insane.
I know, it was insane. So it was cool seeing those kind of things too,
Fuck yeah, that's badass.
So
that's really cool, man. Well, I'm excited for you, bro. I really think you're on the right track. You have the right mindset, and really the sky's the limit. I'm really excited to see where you go in the next couple of years, and just see that growth that I potentially see it right now already.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Really excited for you, man. Kind of wrapping up the podcast, I'm really excited for everybody to hear your story, hear a little bit about what you do, why it's important to have, that backup plan. For sure, I'll be talking to you. But one thing that I do like to end my podcast with, talking a little bit about the city, what are some of your favorite places here in El Paso? One to eat, one to hang out at, and another to go out if you do go out or when you do go out.
All right, guys. So there's this little like hole in the wall. I don't know what it is. It's like a taco stand, but it's not really a stand. It's like a little building that's in the middle of like a driveway in between two commercial buildings. It's the weirdest thing you've ever seen, but it's like it used to be a truck, but it's out by Zaragoza, and I think it's called Tamaulipas.
I know. Are you talking about the one on Rojas?
Yeah, it's like
now it's on a little free stand.
yeah, they're so good.
I'm a vegan.
Really?
I don't get to eat that good stuff anymore. But before I was a vegan, me and my family used to go to that taco place literally every Friday.
Man.
I used to get 2 orders of carne asada tacos. That's 8 tacos. And just go ham on them. Like,
Probably
no
do
lie.
that. Probably gonna do that on my way home.
No, for real.
I think I'm playing. I'm gonna snap it to you too, and you're gonna post it on your story.
Yeah, do it. No lie, those tacos are really good.
No,
I remember them.
They're delicious. Places to hang out. It's crazy. I really, you know what? I enjoy Scenic Drive.
That's cool.
I enjoy Scenic Drive.
It's a nice view.
It's a cool place to just hang out. Shoot the breeze, talk about life with somebody.
Yeah.
Just turn the phone off and just kind of be in the moment. I think that's
Isn't that one of the beautiful things about El Paso is that you could be on I-10 and have a scenic view
I was just about to say
over
that.
to the left, overlooking Mexico and
I was
the
just
valley.
about to say that. I don't think I've ever been in another city, and I've been in a lot of big cities where there's no city where it's just for minutes and minutes on end. You'll be driving on the 10,
you have a view from horizon to the west side.
You have a great view.
Yeah.
Like El Paso has some beautiful views. I will say.
El Paso's amazing, but especially Scenic Drive. Going up to the mountain, up. It's really cool. It's breathtaking just to see how big our little city is.
Our big little city.
It is. We just probably hit 1 million people, or we're getting close to it. It's not even counting the Mexican.
I thought it was like 780.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. We'll look it up. We'll post some numbers, but I heard it was closer to the 800s right now.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, I believe it just because of how many troops are coming and how many troops are staying after deployment. People are coming to El Paso and just realizing, hey, this city's cheap. It's cheap to live here. But not only that, it's a good city.
I met someone in the military last week, and they said they really hope they stay in El Paso.
Yeah.
They got about a year, I think about 1.5 years left, and they're supposed to go to like Maryland or something like that. And then they're saying they really hope they can stay.
Yeah.
They just really like it. And of course, me, I'm sticking away from what I'm saying. I have my moments, but it's at the end of the day, I think probably one of the most important things we all need to remember about El Paso is you can get up at 7 a.m. and be at work at 8.
You could be at work at 7:15.
Yeah, actually,
with no traffic.
So when I got started working, in this industry, working for another company, I kid you not, everyone, I was in traffic for an hour, and let me tell you my whole schedule. I got up at 4:45. I was at the gym by my apartment by 5. I was out at 5:30. I was dressed and ready to dip at 5:45. Wait, I think my time's all messed up. I would leave, I don't know, at 4:45. Be done at the gym by 5:15, home at 5:45. Get ready at 6, have some breakfast, and I'd be out of the door at like 6:30. And from 6:30 to 8 o'clock
Traffic
was my fucking commute.
That's funny.
It's not, actually. It's not
No,
funny.
I say it's funny because I
was
know
dying
that
a
commute.
slow and painful death every single day.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, there's an accident. You're going to be there all day, dude.
Yeah. When I was in Miami, I lived in downtown Miami. And my stores, I was managing 3 locations for Verizon. My farthest store was an hour and a half.
I know.
And my other store was on the other side of Florida. And my other store was over here. So there would be times where I'd have to hit all three stores in one day. So my entire day was in my car, and an hour would be at the store. So it was insane. I know the feeling.
I will say that while I was transitioning careers, I picked up doing Uber part-time, man. I made some good money doing Uber out there.
Uber's cool.
Not even kidding.
I tried to do it, but I had a two-door.
I think one time I did. I think I made like $100 in like 3 hours out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Uber's lit out there. It can replace the full-time job if you really wanted to.
You just gotta be in driving.
But then of course I was like,
driving.
okay, I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
You
You gotta meet people. That's really why I wanted to do it in Florida, but I had a two-door, so.
And it's funny. I picked up my first client doing Uber.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's great, right?
Uber works.
I know, it really does.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great. I'm getting paid to prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's badass. That's really cool. What would you say is your favorite night spot out here, nightlife? Are you into nightlife?
I can't say that I'm into it as much as I used to.
If you had to pick a place, celebrate, big month or birthday, where would it be?
I don't want to say Malola because I feel like everyone says that, but you know what? I had a great time there.
Malalam?
I've had some good times.
A lot of people have said that. But
it's
that
fun,
just
man.
tells you something, yeah. It's a really cool vibe. I really like the atmosphere. I love that shopping center in general. It's just the time.
Yeah.
It's time. Sosa lives down the street too, so he's always there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks like you've been lit last night.
Daniel, I appreciate you, showing up, sharing your story with us, and I'm sure you have even more to share. We've already passed our time. We could probably be talking for like another hour, huh? But
we're gonna have to carry over to season 2, man.
Yeah, season 2 for sure. Yeah, season 2 is coming up, Whiskey Wednesday podcast session. But really excited, for this episode to drop and for people to just hear your story, hear, why it's important to deal with people like you in this industry and look for services that you're offering. Real quick, let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Daniel J. Del Valle.
Daniel,
the way it's spelled, Daniel J, and then Del Valle, like the high school.
Del Valle, that's where I was supposed to go.
You can't forget that.
Cool, man. Well, for all of you guys that are listening here, make sure you guys tune in every single Wednesday where we talk to entrepreneurs, influencers, movers, and shakers like Daniel here. And, I'm just pumped, bro. I'm really excited to have this platform and have people like you on here and, like I said, just show some value to the city. So thanks again for being on, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Really appreciate it.